I don't think anger is shameful. I think it should be embraced and loved in that sort of spirit of, how do I take this innate part of me and make it non-destructive?
Why do you think we hold on to so much anger or frustration for so long about anything, not just Me Too stuff, but anything in general? Why do you think we hold on to these things for so long?
That's a great question. I really don't know. I mean, if I could take a stab at it, that anger isn't actually it can feel really good to be angry, especially if you're sad or, have any of the lower things. Anger is actually pretty powerful. Like in sports, for example, if you're scared on like a big match point, there's mental coaches who say, just work yourself, find something to be angry, because that's going to be a more powerful state than fear.
Yes.
So I don't know. That's a stab at that deep philosophical question.
Do you feel like you're an angry person, or have you had anger throughout the last 15 years of acting?
Yeah, no, I'm not really angry around. I have a lot of anger in my personal life. I don't know where it comes from. My dad had a big temper, and it's scary at times. And kids, I don't know
you
how
can't control your
listeners.
Kids.
You can't, and they can trigger you in the deepest ways.
And they know how to manipulate you, probably, right?
They start getting there, but even before they're in that stage, they're triggering, whatever your issues are with yourself or how you were raised. And generally, like my son, who is a boy, if he does something that reminds me of maybe something that I don't like about myself, if, let's say, for an example, like, a culture where being a guy and being scared isn't really allowed, and then you see your son being scared, it's cute for a bit, but then at a certain age, it starts to trigger me, like, hey man, like, get it together.
How old is your son?
5, you know what I mean? And I'm like, you can't be, I'm not gonna escort you upstairs. There's nothing upstairs. You gotta be brave. And I try to be.
I've gone under the covers the whole time. I've gone under the bed. I've shown you there's no monsters. When are you gonna grow up?
I find anger to be very confusing, and obviously relationships spark it, and kids can. A lot of the yogic principles, it's just like, it's primal anger that it's born with. You can see a 2-year-old rage like nothing else. It's not, I don't think anger is shameful. I don't think it's something, I think it should be embraced and loved in that sort of spirit of, how do I take this innate part of me and make it non-destructive? Mm-hmm. And that can be through, CrossFit and kickboxing or whatever. Meditation, yoga, but sometimes that's hard too, because you can think you've released it, but anger is a tricky.
Suppressed it or something.
It's got a ton of energy, and anger is incredibly powerful.
And it can come back in a moment and trigger you.
Oh man, and so I think you've mentioned you have some anger. I think we all do.
I think I had a lot of anger, and sports allowed me to release it in a very safe environment. To where I didn't have it, because I could get it out in this container of 2-3 hours and let any of my emotions out. Just headbutt people all day, and then I was fine. I was exhausted of all my energy, and I was just like, I could sleep peacefully.
And do you still get triggered, or are you kind of?
I get triggered all the time. The thing is, I'm so aware of it now. I'm so aware of it that I'm like, okay, it's kind of like I recognize the 2 wolves inside of me, the good wolf and the bad wolf.
I love that old metaphor.
And I'm like, okay, which one wants to win right now? Which one am I going to feed? And sometimes I feed the bad wolf, and it comes out, but most of the time I'm feeding the good wolf, because I'm consciously like, okay, this is triggering me. Why is this triggering me? Why do I want to punch someone in the face right now or go through a wall? Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I could take down a building. I literally feel like I could run through this building, and the whole thing would crumble. Yeah. I know I would die before that would happen, but I feel like in my mind, I feel like that's possible sometimes with that much power.
Think of that much energy. I mean,
that much energy, but I'm so conscious and aware of it that I just practice the right things